There is an interesting logical loop when it comes to the idea of a physical offering. We exist inside a vast material universe, yet we frequently hand small physical objects back to the entity we believe created all that matter. In this village, spiritual devotion functioned as a high-stakes economy. The local elite operated under a strict belief that piety was a measurable commodity, calculated entirely by the monetary value of the items placed on the altar. They treated the temple like a cosmic vending machine. If you piled heavy gold jewelry, imported flowers, and expensive sweets onto one side of a scale, it would mechanically push up your divine favor meter on the other. For the richest families in town, this system offered enormous psychological relief. It meant they didn't have to engage in difficult introspection or alter their daily behavior. They could simply purchase their peace of mind at a premium markup. By turning spirituality into a standard financial transaction, the actual intent behind the gift evaporated. The price tag became the only metric anyone paid attention to. But there was one resident who completely ignored this financial framework. A man named Ramu lived in extreme poverty, meaning he had zero capital to participate in the village's spiritual economy. Ramu's daily offering consisted of exactly 2 items: a worn copper pot filled with plain water and a single green bell pot relief. That was it. No gold, no sweets. The wealthy families actively mocked him daily. According to their strict accounting, Ramu's offering was mathematically incapable of registering on the divine scale. They viewed his single leaf as an insult to the deity. Ramu let the insults pass without reaction. Every morning, he walked to the temple, poured his water, placed his leaf, and went home. His focus remained entirely fixed on his internal state, completely deaf to the social noise around him. Without realizing it, Ramu was presenting a live stress test to the village's entire worldview. His daily routine forced an unasked question: does the universe care about the atoms sitting on the altar, or the mind of the person who placed them there? The answer to that question arrived in the form of a severe environmental collapse. A harsh drought settled over the region, draining the water tables and baking the fertile soil into dry, fractured dust. Panic set in quickly. Crops failed and the wells dried up. The wealthy elite reacted instinctively. They attempted to buy their way out of the crisis by scaling up their offerings to maximum capacity. They pooled their resources and organized a massive yajna, a grand fire ritual. They poured immense quantities of expensive ghee, grains, and wealth into the flames, trying to force the heavens to open up through sheer financial volume. The fires roared, a priest chanted, the wealth burned, and the sky remained a punishing, cloudless blue. The village elite had deployed every ounce of capital they had, and the environment didn't even flinch. Against a genuine cosmic crisis, their material currency held exactly 0 purchasing power. While the rich villagers stared up at the empty sky in exhausted panic, Ramu slept peacefully in his small hut. The failure of the grand ritual hadn't shaken him, because he never believed in the math behind it to begin with. That night, a specific line of communication opened. Lord Shiva appeared in a dream, ignoring the massive bonfires and the wealthy donors entirely, and speaking directly to Ramu. The message was highly specific. Shiva told Ramu that his lack of material wealth meant absolutely nothing. The pure, unadulterated intent behind his daily copper pot of water was the only currency the universe actually recognized. The drought was laying bare a harsh reality for the village. The universe operates on spiritual authenticity, and no amount of burning grain or melting gold can compensate for an empty heart. The next morning, Ramu walked to the temple with his single copper pot of water. This time, the desperate, exhausted eyes of the wealthy villagers watched him. He performed his exact same minimal routine, pouring the water with absolute conviction. Moments later, clouds materialized overhead, darkening the clear sky, until a single, heavy drop of water smashed into the dust. Then came the downpour. The elite stood soaking wet in the mud. They had poured fortunes into the fire and received nothing. A poor man poured a cup of water, and the sky broke open. The volume of the offering had no bearing on the result. The mechanism that finally triggered the rain was the absolute, unshakable faith accompanying the act. Let's look back at our conceptual scale. The village elite failed because they misunderstood the inputs. The creator of physical matter doesn't need more matter. When you replace the gold with a glowing heart representing pure intent, the meter instantly maxes out. True devotion is invisible to the naked eye. It requires no capital, no audience, and no grand external showmanship. It is entirely a state of selfless surrender. When the final calculations are made, the physical objects fall away. In the end, the purity of a devout heart carries far more weight than all the wealth in the world.